YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with a way too early 2020 NFL mock draft. I thought, why not? Let's take a look at the projected top prospects for the 2020 NFL draft. The rest of this week, we'll be going over the 2019 draft team by team, division by division, team by team, breaking down their drafts and giving them a grade. At the end of the week, we'll rank all the drafts and see who won the draft. So still plenty more draft content to come here. Really important note for this video, I used the same order as last year, 2019 order. It's not the time to predict the outcome of the NFL season. We'll get to that. We'll predict everyone's record couple weeks, hopefully. So the main goal is to take a look at my projected top prospects, what range they can go in and what type of schemes they can fit, really. That's the goal. It's about the prospects, really not the teams. But, I guess you kind of had to find who fits where and what teams need. Let's go into it. A lot of good offensive players. I like that. At the top, though, I have a defensive player, Chase Young, edge rusher from Ohio State. I like Chase Young a lot. Very good athlete for a pass rusher. Stepped up last year, going to step up this year even more. But, as of now, if I were to make a way too early big board, maybe some of the guys below him would be higher. But we're looking at what the Cardinals could need if they had the first overall pick since they got their quarterback this year, which, again, I'm not projecting them to with this. And then Chase Young would fit the 3-4, in my opinion. The Niners take Grant Delpit, safety from LSU. Maybe my favorite player in the draft at this point. It's a safety. It's hard to see a safety at pick 2, but if it's a guy like Delpit, it's worth it. He can do it all. Mainly played that strong safety. Can play either. Can play corner if he wanted to. See him go up in the box. He's very instinctive. A freak athlete, freak playmaker. A lot to like about Delpit. The Jets take A.J. Epinesa, edge rusher from Iowa. Think similar to Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, the better prospect, but Epinesa still has another year. Very good technique, very strong, very good hands. So I expect him to even step up this year from last year, which last year was very good production in terms of sacks and forced fumbles. So the Iowa edge rusher should be at the top. The Jets, even though Epinesa is more of a 4-3 end, the Jets have some flexibility with Greg Williams in there. So I can see a switch. Again, not predicting the Jets to pick third, but it's possible. The Raiders take Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon, and I'm not predicting Derek Carr to be bad or anything. It very well could be Derek Carr. It's hard to find where to plug in the quarterback. Obviously, these two quarterbacks will probably go 1 and 2 depending on who's picking there and depending on who needs quarterback to trade up. But at this point, it doesn't really look like any team really needs a quarterback that badly. So if the Raiders are picking up here, it'd probably be because they need a quarterback. And to me, right now, Herbert is actually my number one quarterback in the draft. Very accurate, more of a pro-style guy, but can move a lot. Strong arm too, good size, a lot to like about Herbert, and I believe that Gruden and Mayock will like Herbert as the best quarterback. Not saying they're for sure drafting him. Way too early to tell if they need a quarterback next year, but this will be their type of guy. The Bucs, I have taken Tua Tagovailoa. This quarterback definitely has the potential of passing Herbert for me in Tua, but right now, I like Herbert a little better. I think he's a little more polished. I think he would have been the first quarterback off the board if he came. Actually, Murray probably still would have been the first quarterback because of the fit, but Herbert would have been the second pick. The Giants could be with Herbert right now if he just declared, and it was kind of a close call there, tough decision. So interesting. But Tua, I like a lot. Like that he's a lefty, like that he's, with the new school type of offenses. He can run RPO very fast. Still some, hiccups the last year, especially in that Clemson game. So still have some things to fix here, but he is very solid. It reminds me, he's a bigger version, but reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit, the way he moves, the way he throws, the style a little bit, but he's definitely taller, bigger size than Russell Wilson, just the way he plays. The Buccaneers may not need a quarterback if Winston plays well, but if they're picking up here, I think they could, and Bruce Arians mentioned, he was actually on an interview in the draft, if anybody saw it, mentioned Winston just has to start throwing the ball to the right team. He's got to stop throwing it to the wrong team, I think he says. So I think he's kind of on the hot seat for a quarterback. If he continues to do that, they pick up here, they will not be afraid to go this route. The Giants take a receiver, the top receiver projected in the draft for their rookie quarterback. This one in Jerry Jeudy from Alabama. It's really a do-it-all receiver. Really, at this point, don't see any weaknesses. He can catch the ball downfield, contested catch, go over the top, catch the ball, has speed, athleticism. His moves out of the catch are ridiculous. Love this receiver class already. I probably have too many receivers in this first round, but It's more about my top prospects. Really, in no order, it's really my top 32 prospects to look out for next season. So obviously don't expect this any to be right, but it's just it's a time to take a look at the prospects. Jerry Jeudy I like a lot for the Giants, their Odell replacement, I guess. The Jags take CeeDee Lamb, another receiver from Oklahoma. We saw him down the stretch really take over. He almost looked better than Marquise Brown down the stretch. He was, for sure. But during the whole season, was Marquise Brown better? Most likely, yeah. But Lamb is very good. When you watch him play, you would think, since he's shifty, can do a lot of different things, he's probably, you don't realize how big he is. He's about 6'1", 6'2", so he has some size to him too. Freak athlete, catch the ball anywhere on the field. Very impressed with him. Bryce Hall to the Lions. Lions got a good corner in this draft, but didn't really take him at the top like some people expected. So they get a very good one in Bryce Hall, a cornerback from Virginia. He would have been number 1 in this year's class. Lockdown corner, but if he throws way, can be a playmaker, can be physical, athletic. A lot to like about Bryce Hall from Virginia there. Next 8 picks. Bills taking Travis Etienne, running back from Clemson. Right now it doesn't look like they need a running back. How long has LaShawn McCoy got? Devin Singletary, I don't know if he's the long-term number 1 running back. He's a weapon. So Travis Etienne made a lot of sense here from Clemson. I think he's the top back in the draft as we sit, but it's, again, a way too early stage. Etienne, 2 years ago, was pretty darn speedy. This year he put on some size, some strength, lost a little bit of speed, but was very dominant. So he added some things to his game, and I like that a lot, so he can show improvement going forward. The Broncos go Paddy Fisher, linebacker, Northwestern. Kind of weird seeing a Northwestern guy up here, but Paddy Fisher's dominant. He's a do-it-all linebacker, super instinctive, good in coverage. You look at him, it looks like an old-school linebacker, but really a do-it-all linebacker in today's game. I like Paddy Fisher a lot. The Bengals go Derek Brown, defense lineman, Auburn. Maybe pair him with Geno Atkins with this scenario. But Derek Brown is pretty dominant run stopper, can get after the quarterback here and there as well. Another receiver, the Packers go Tyler Johnson, wide receiver, Minnesota, guy I like a lot. Down the end of the stretch of the season, I really liked him. Thought this guy was declaring, and I was getting ready for that. But he went back to school. Very good down the sideline, very good in the red zone. Great hands and great in contested catches. Dolphins go Najee Harris, running back from Alabama. Some more Alabama guys. Najee Harris, to me, will be the second best running back in this class. Could be third. He's in a battle with somebody else that would come off next. But Harris kind of, I like Damian Harris and I like Josh Jacobs. Well, Josh Jacobs was the best running back, but I think Harris kind of got screwed. He kind of was put as the third running back, not because of his skill, because he was younger. I think he's better than Damian Harris. He could even be better than Josh Jacobs. I actually think he will be. He's got size. He's got speed, athleticism. He's really got everything, break tackles. So he was a former top running back recruit. So I like Najee Harris. Dolphins got a few running backs, but they could get better at the position. I think Rosen will be their quarterback going forward. And not a lot of edge rushers that really would fit. We're lacking some edge rushers. I know some guys will step up. The Falcons go Henry Ruggs, another Alabama receiver. The Falcons are a pretty complete team to me. I mean, it'll probably be a different story at this, next year, at this time next year. But another Alabama receiver, why not? It's a do-it-all receiver. Really likes to play in the slot a lot. Ruggs can do that or slide outside. Speedy guy, can catch the ball down the sideline as well. So this will make the Falcons that dominant. Another receiver, Redskins take T. Higgins, wide receiver, Clemson. I know they got Terry McLaurin and Calvin Harmon, but they could use another one. They can use a first-round guy, another speedy guy. You can give this guy a screen pass. You can throw it to him deep, all over the place. T. Higgins, very solid receiver out of Clemson. The Panthers go Trey Adams, offensive line in Washington. We've been hearing about Trey Adams for quite a few years now. He's been getting hyped up. He did have an injury in there. But yeah, the Panthers are going to need a line, I think, at this point next year. And Trey Adams, as long as he's healthy, should be the best one. But there's some other really good ones too coming up. Next 8 picks, a couple more linemen here. Andrew Thomas, offensive lineman, Georgia, another top tier guy. Not a lot of pressure getting to Fromm, and it's because of a guy like this. And Walker Little, really what stood out as by far the best guy in the Stanford offensive line this year. They had some struggles at times elsewhere, but Walker Little really held it down. And then the Titans go with a pass rusher. Again, not too many elite pass rushers, but some really good guys down here. But Julian Okwara from Notre Dame, I think is a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker, pass rusher. Was dominant last year at Notre Dame. I was getting ready for him to come out too. I would have liked him. And in this class, the edge rusher class is a little better than 2019, so he probably would have been a second rounder, but I liked him a lot. And then there's Anthony Jennings, same situation there. Super long arms for Jennings. That's what I like about him. Can deflect some balls while he's rushing at the line. Steelers next year could use a Bud Dupree replacement when he's a free agent. A.J. Terrell, another Clemson player in a corner. Very solid play down the stretch this year. The Seahawks could be looking for a top-tier corner next year. The Ravens go Dylan Moses, another inside linebacker. He can bring pressure to the quarterback as well. The Ravens didn't really fill that need. I didn't really think it was that big of a need because they had a tremendous depth after losing Mosley. But next year they could be looking to add another guy here because they want to keep that depth going. The Texans go Deandre Swift, running back from Georgia. Dominant running back, could be the second best running back in his class. He can battle for first as well. Big, I guess somewhat similar to Josh Jacobs. He's got the strength, but he's really got the cuts too, the moves. But, not to knock, I'm not going to base anything off one game, and I really like DeAndre Swift, but that bowl game against Texas, I was surprised that he can have that bad of a performance. It was a really bad one. I don't know what that was. We're going to forget about it, though, but it kind of sticking with me a little bit. The Raiders go Isaiah Simmons, safety from Clemson, could use a safety next year possibly. And this is the Bears pick. They'll have the Bears pick in the first round next year as well. And Isaiah Simmons is very interesting to me because he's got really good size, really good length, and a freak athlete too. And he's a playmaker out there. So he's really got the total package for safety, much like a guy we had going second. Next 8 picks. I got the Eagles taking Tommy Kramer, offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Really the only guard that stood out to me. And, the Eagles filled that need at tackle, so they'll get that guard next year possibly. The Colts get another receiver, Laviska Shenault from Colorado. I want to see more of him. He was very dominant this year, just kind of came out of nowhere. Sideline catcher downfield, go over the top, make a contested catch. Very good size, about 6'3", maybe a hair under. And pretty athletic. So I want to see more because it was kind of a guy that came out of nowhere. Cowboys take safety. They didn't take it this year. They'll take it next year, possibly. Xavier McKinney, Alabama's better safety. Deontay Thompson was pretty good, though. Kind of a do-it-all safety as well. I think you can play either strong or free. The Chargers, we expected maybe to grab a corner. They didn't do so. They get a length and athletic corner in Cameron Dantzler from Mississippi State. He was very impressive. Going into this past year, I expected Jamal Peters to be the best Mississippi State corner. Dantzler really stood out to me. Pretty, he's on the lighter side. Could have put on some weight, but he's super athletic and super long, and he could be a playmaker at the next level. The Chiefs could be another team that uses a corner here, but another receiver. Jalen Reagor, wide receiver from TCU. Tyreek Hill's probably on his way out. They get McCole Hardman. Is McCole Hardman Tyreek Hill? He could be. He's very similar, and he could be good, but probably not. And they can use as many of these type of guys as they can get. This guy is my number one on the watch list because this guy can absolutely fly. I don't know if anybody remembers the TCU Oklahoma State game. They lined this guy in the backfield and just handed him the ball, and he just flew. He literally flew. I remember watching that game live, and I was just stunned. This guy could be the fastest guy in this draft class, and the Chiefs could use another guy like this. Obviously, you want to see him do more as a wideout, but he can. But mainly a shifty and a super speedy guy. Saints take Raekwon Davis, defense lineman, Alabama. Interesting from Davis 2 years ago when he couldn't come out. I love Raekwon Davis. Didn't know really much anything about Quinnen Williams before this last season, 2018 in college football. It was mainly just Raekwon Davis. I loved his game in 2017. This guy's going to be a top pick in the 2019 draft after the 2018 season. And I didn't like his play this year. He didn't really stand out to me. He kind of stood out to struggle, and that's why he went back. Down the stretch against the good teams, he was able to get blocked out of plays, and then kind of, he had abilities to get he had chances to get sacks, but this couldn't quite finish to me. He just kind of got caught at a standstill, couldn't really do too much. So he was much, much, much better 2 years ago. So let's see if we can get that back. He could be a late first rounder, though. The Rams take a linebacker, Shaq Quarterman from Miami. Another one of those linebackers that really is solid at pretty much doing it all. There are a couple of the ones we've seen this year. So the Rams could use somebody like that. And then the Patriots get their tight ends, who we expected maybe they'd get this year, the possible Gronk replacement, and Albert Okwuegbunam. Probably said it wrong, but that's what I got. From Missouri. He was pretty dominant, really the top target for Drew Lock there in Missouri. Emmanuel Hall was pretty darn solid too, definitely electrifying that offense. They'd have some drops though, but This guy was, more sure hands guy. So it's definitely a guy, and he's about 6'5", maybe a little tall, maybe around 6'6", possibly. So the Patriots could look at a guy like this. I think really the only first clear-cut, top tight end, I should say. But there's some more guys I didn't include. I didn't even put Jake Fromm on here. Not really enough spots to put quarterbacks, but at the same time, I'm not super high on Jake Fromm. I mean, obviously, he was young. We need to see more, and he definitely can get up here. He definitely can change my mind. I'm not a person that's going to be locked in at this point at all. But I didn't really view him as a first rounder, maybe like a second rounder for me. Kellen Mond from Texas A&M, excuse me. I really liked him last year. He's only a sophomore. He doesn't look like a first round quarterback yet, but he's shown me great improvements at the end of the season. He's very athletic too, can throw on the run, throw down the sideline pretty accurately. Mond is the guy to look out for from Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher's got him playing over there. A&M was really impressive down the stretch of the season. So there's a couple quarterbacks to look out for. Eason from Washington's another one, but we didn't get to see too much of him. I know he's a top recruit. So we'll see. Shea Patterson, too, was a top recruit. Didn't play all that well last year. Maybe he can step up. So, there's plenty of other. Jonathan Taylor, running back from Wisconsin, very, very good running back. Has a fumbling situation, though. I didn't include him in the first round. He has a fumbling situation. A.J. Dillon from Boston College, I liked his freshman year. Thought this guy's going to be a future top running back. Last year, I did not like it all. He needs to hit the hole better on short yardage plays. He needs to use his body, use his strength to get those. Sometimes he wants to bounce it out. I don't think he realizes what type of back he is sometimes. But definitely easily can fix that going forward. It's definitely something they can work on, and he can be back to how he played his freshman year. Probably missing some guys. There's a lot of receivers, a ridiculous amount of receivers too. Trey Smith from Tennessee, a lot of people like him. He might not even play. He had a serious health issue, something with a blood clot or something, so he might. A lot of people like him. He was number one recruit offensive lineman. He's for Tennessee right now, but he has a health scare right now. He may be done with football, so did not include him in here. Couple corners in this, not a whole bunch of them. There could be more there. Laverne Hill from Michigan, trying to think of other guys I didn't include here. Notre Dame, Alohi Gilman, the safety. He's a do-it-all safety. Liked him a lot last year. So, yeah, I know some guys will step up, be surprising this year. So, we'll see. Obviously, I expect this to change a bunch. It's just my idea of 32 first-round prospects for right now. So I thought it'll be fun to do. Very interesting. But again, we'll go through the 2019 drafts for each team, break it down, my in-depth thoughts, and grade them. And then after we get through every division, every team, we will rank all the drafts, and we'll see, in my opinion, who won the draft. So can't wait to do all that. And then we'll get into starting to predict the NFL season. We'll do rankings based off going forward. Record predictions, obviously, team-by-team record predictions. NBA drafts, not too far away. Lottery is going to be intense because we have a clear-cut top player in Zion Williamson. So we'll cover all that to NBA mock drafts. We'll have plenty here. There's our Twitter in the bottom right. Follow us for updates. 20K is our subscriber goal. Please click that like button. That'd be much appreciated. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for their support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.